it's not in doubt whether I'm smart or not. The market does not care whether you're smart. What is in doubt is what value am I giving my clients? Are you solving my problems? Are you giving me clarity? Are you saving me money? Are you understanding my business model?
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Founder Diaries. Thank you so much for being here. And before we get into today's episode, please make sure that you subscribe on whatever platform that you're listening to this on. This just allows us to keep bringing you more and more amazing content. And today's guest is a dear friend. Her name is Waithera, but she's also a superstar at what she does. So I'm very excited to get into her story, and I'll let her introduce yourself. I'll give you the challenge of first introduce yourself without any rules.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my name is Waithera Mugo. I am super kind human being. I love sleeping, and I can watch Netflix for a whole day. That's how I unwind. Yeah. Is that a good intro?
10 out of 10. Now add the rules.
All right. So I'm a founder of Ithera Africa. It's a business and tax commercial firm based in Westlands. I am also the managing partner of Waithera M & Co Advocates. It's a specialized tax law firm also in Westlands. Other than being a business owner, which I really like, I am a commercial and tax lawyer. So I advise people on a daily basis on how to save money in their businesses. Yeah.
And put more in their pockets.
Yes. Yeah.
I am curious to hear your origin story. Can we start with your journey? What led you into tax law?
Yeah.
Well, you say you always knew from your child you wanted to be a lawyer, but what made you say, okay, this one is the one I want?
I think I've always had an affinity, I still do, of just complexities. I love complex things. I hate boredom. So if you give me a simple task, it just really bores me. And the thing about tax, it's very technical. It's always evolving. Every year we have a finance act out. So you have to keep reading. And when I say reading, even when I'm doing a case laws in Kenya might not help me. I have to go to India and see how they are, deciding such subjects, or UK.
And you can argue based on that?
Yes, we've won cases with cases from Supreme Court of India. We did a case of software payments, and we couldn't get any precedent other than one in Kenya. And so we had to go digging, and that really excites me. Just, learning.
Where do you even find such information on Google?
The resources are there. The resources, like the way Kenya, we have Kenya Law Report that has all our case history. The same way other countries have them. So if I'm researching something that is very novel, then I'll just go and say, what is Uganda doing with this, taxation issue? And then I'll see how their courts are interpreting it. And the beauty of law, it's universal. So there's nothing really new under the sun. So I really just like the complexity of tax, the way it keeps evolving. I like that it actually helps businesses. So I like that I can use the law knowledge and then bring it some relief or some side to a business owner and give you a solution. So that's really fulfilling to me.
That's so interesting. I'm curious, when you were now in law school and you were thinking about what you wanted to venture into, before you knew tax was a thing, what is that one area of law that you perceived probably is the most successful, maybe makes the most money versus your thoughts now?
It's funny. I think I'm a very different human being now that you asked that question. I know people say that I became a lawyer to make money, but I have never thought of that. Well, I like money, don't get me wrong. But I think, first of all, I wanted to be a lawyer when I was 6 years old. So for me, it was just what can I do and can I excel in it? So I started interning, believe me or not, in a law firm when I was in first year. By the time I was done with my law degree and going to Kenya School of Law, I kind of had a feeling of every area of practice. And by the time I was done with Kenya School of Law, I knew I didn't want to do mainstream, but I still did it because I needed the experience. But then I also got to learn things maybe faster than everyone else because I was doing the internship when I was younger. And so 3 years on, I was like, I want something complex. And then I stumbled into tax law because in the law firm that I was working in, I used to be very greedy for complex matters. And my boss was willing to, for me to run with them. And so we got this tax case and I was able to hack it. And then I realized I really like it, just discovering new statutes, new provisions, and discovering that there's more to learn. And I've never looked back. I like saying that. I think this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. Okay. So when you first started practicing now as a lawyer, what did you perceive being a successful lawyer is versus now?
First of all, the lies in the Kenyan curriculum is you need to be smart. And I think if you've gone to law school, if you got an A in KCSE, if you've gone to law school, you've gone to Kenya School of Law, you've hacked, I mean, you're already smart. There's no doubt there. But the truth is the market does not care whether you're smart. The market cares, especially from business owner to business owner. Are you solving my problems? Are you giving me clarity? Are you saving me money? Are you understanding my business model? So I remember joking when I started the farm and everyone used to ask me, how is it running your own farm? I was like, I think it's like selling tomatoes because I came in saying, I'm a smart lawyer, I should get clients. Then I realized very fast, I have to convince the clients why they should hire me. And the clients do not care whether I'm smart. The clients care, what solution am I giving them? Because most of our clients come to us when they are scared. They have a problem that they can't figure out, or they are extremely ambitious. They want to grow very fast, but they're not sure what structures to use, or they are, starting an idea and they want you to map it up for them. So where does smartness come in there? Like, it really does not. So I feel like what I had to let go very fast is it's not in doubt whether I'm smart or not. What is in doubt is what value am I giving my clients, and am I giving sustainable value? So I'm not just putting like a band-aid to the wound. I'm actually giving them long-term solutions, where they can rely on me, they can count on my advisory, and it can actually help them, and they can see it in money,
Tangibly.
tangible. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm curious to hear about this transition from now working at a law firm to now starting your own law firm.
Yeah.
What are some perceptions you had, like as an employee, thinking how being a business owner would be versus things qua ground when you actually got there?
Yo, listen. Number one, I like this quote that says your business can only grow as much as you. Because I think one thing, you can be really excellent in being a lawyer, for example, like the desk work, the technicality, but no one prepares you of how much your personality needs to grow for you to become a successful business owner. So your leadership, how you manage your team, how you manage your client, how you manage finances. So I feel like being a lawyer in my head is like 5% of what I need to make sure that my businesses are successful. 95% is all the other things that you're not taught in school. And just learning that and being very transparent with, I think you're falling short in your leadership. I think you need to go for therapy. There are things there are some triggers there that you're taking to your work. I think you're limiting your business with how you're using finances. So all those very hard truths, like mirroring yourself. And, it's such a disappointment because you start the business thinking, I am the smartest lawyer in the town. And then it humbles you very fast. And you realize that you have a lot to learn and unlearn actually than what you expected.
So you mentioned about handling the finances. What did you have to figure out very early on in terms of the numbers and the money, and what are some mistakes you maybe made in the beginning versus what you do not to make sure that you have a good handle on how the money is flowing in and out?
Yeah, I think number one, the fear that we are sold that clients will dry out. So like you're told when you start a business, your friends will support you for the first month, or then your family, then that's it, right? So I feel like I remember I keep saying when I was journaling, because I had like targets from day one, month one, how much I should make. And every time I went to the targets, the math was not mathing. And I remember feeling so scared and wondering, when will I get there? Like this dream seems uncatchable, right? And so I feel like the moment the fear dissolved, I was able to propel and run faster. There's something that fear does to you, that I think it freezes your brain. So you're not even strategic. You don't see the bigger picture. But I think when you're Delulu, literally, like you run so fast. And if I compare Waithera starting the business 7 years ago and Waithera now, I am able to take million risks at once without thinking, without the scarcity mentality of we won't have money. One of the things that I think I was actually reflecting last week, and I realized there's no coin I will not spend for my business. I want to pay premium for everything for my business, which was not the mindset I had in the beginning. In the beginning, it's just like you want to make
Save
so
as
much
much as you
money
can.
and, take home as much as you can. But I think for any business to grow, you have to just invest just as much. If you want to give premium services, then you have to spend on premium services. So I think that has really shifted.
Okay, I want to pick a little bit more on the conversation around pricing and something you mentioned to me before, actually. But before we get there, I want you to tell us about your other business ventures outside of the law firm.
So, oh my God, I think I was born to be a business person, to be honest. First of all, my mom has been in business since I was born. We like joking that my mom used to run a grocery shop when I was younger. And so my brother used to cut melons for us to sell. And he used to make like the perfect cut of melons. And he was the design, and I used to sell them so fast because we used to compete on, who makes what profit at the end of the day. Anyway, fast track to when I was in uni. I was in UN law school. I had a business for secondhand clothes. I think this was like in second year. I was so moneyed, guys. I had Nuba in 2017. Like I was moneyed. I
So where were
always
you
had a
buying the
business.
clothes? Who
I
were you
used to go to
selling to?
Kikomba.
Yeah.
We had it with my friend then. We go to Kikomba, we buy the clothes, we come, we hire someone to wash them and iron them, and then we post them on Facebook, like with a proper photo shoot. I think there's even time we did like a professional photo shoot of the clothes, and then sell them. And you'd be the profits were insane.
How much were you buying at and how much were you
So
selling
like there's a
at?
trench coat, I remember we keep joking about this. We bought it, I think, at 500. We sold it at 2,500. That's a good profit for like uni, right? And we did it for like almost a year. And then we pivoted and started importing jewelry from Alibaba. Still in uni.
I didn't know this.
I know, right? There's a page with my face on Facebook. And then I pivoted from that because, of course, my mom has always been focused on one thing. So she was supportive, but not so supportive with me just doing the side hustle when I was in school. And then now, the last time that I tried and failed terribly was I opened a liquor store with my friend. And because I was not there full time, I was also trying to run the farm. My mom gave me a very hard ultimatum. She was like, "You're a lawyer. Please do what you know how to do." And she was right because we're not making any profit, to be honest. It was just, dead capital. So yeah, I've been in many businesses.
All right. So on the pricing conversation, there's a time that you'd mentioned your pricing when you started your farm was more from the perspective of law is a humble profession and you're just there to, give your clients value, but you're not charging what you should have. Can you walk us through that transformation of realizing, okay, I need to charge more and being able to charge more and how customers perceived that and how you handled that conversation?
Yeah. I think someone says that what you charge is really internal. It's first of all your confidence levels, what you think you deserve. And that's actually, it could not be further from the truth. Before, when I started the law firm, first of all, as lawyers, we have like a manuscript that we use. It's called Advocate Remuneration Order. And so we are guided with charging with that. But when I ventured into tax, it was very different because it's a new area of practice. The matters I'm handling are not really prescribed in that rating. The complexity of it, like I've told you, if I have to research cases in India, how do I charge my time for that? And so I found myself undercharging a lot. I remember when I was talking to Ken of Comini and saying, Waithera, you have a contract with poverty. And, it called me to order because I realized like I'm giving so much value and I'm not charging for the same. And it has taken a bit of coaching for me to, number one, understand the why, because you also don't want, I feel like we can say fake it till you make it, but the why has to be really internal, why you need to charge more. And for me, it's very clear from where I sit. If I'm charging you amount X, is number one, what value am I giving you? What saving am I giving you? What is the quality of work am I giving you? And because I know my whys and they are so grounded, I don't do back and forth on fees. Like I'm very happy if I say my number, it doesn't work for you. No hard feelings. You can go to someone else. I remember there's a client who called me a while back and she was telling me, why are you charging us this? And another lawyer is charging us this. And it gave me so much peace to tell him, please go to that lawyer. Like kwa uzuri, there's no hard feelings and he can always come back. But I think when you also know the why, you're not you know how pricing can be very sensitive. You feel like you're walking on eggshells with clients. You don't feel like that. It's a very confident, this is the way. Yeah. So it's only gonna go up, because the more value we give, the more mastery we acquire, the more money we charge, the more money we save. So yeah.
But I think it's just generally maybe a Kenyan entrepreneur mindset. We're kind of culture to want to like maximize on your business's profit. So you're trying to spend as little money as possible. But I think we definitely need to shift the perspective to a mindset of, okay, what's the value I'm getting and what am I saving with working with you, as opposed to not doing it.
Maybe if I can add, I think sometimes you can be thinking you're saving money by going for like, I want to call it like a bottom dollar service. But ideally what you're doing is just creating more mess. Like look at like the problem we've been saying with our clients. When you hire an accountant and you're charging him like 20,000, you're paying him, this is just an example. There's nothing wrong with paying them 20,000. And that's what you're paying him. And he's stealing from you. And now you're wondering, why is he stealing from me? You're moving millions and you've encountered, like you've trusted someone with your millions who you're paying not even a drop of that. So I think for every service that you're getting, you have to ask yourself, what is the transaction that I'm trying to save here? What is at stake? And then maybe, navigate with that.
Yeah. Okay. So next question is more around now your expertise when it comes to legal, tax, and how to structure our businesses to kind of set ourselves up for success. So maybe you can talk a little bit more about the pitfalls that entrepreneurs fall into when we're deciding what legal structures and just generally how we do business that are affecting us when it comes to now a tax perspective. Yeah, and what you've observed.
The more I'm talking to business owners about taxes, I think the more I'm appreciating, number one, we were not taught tax in school. So when you're starting a business, it's the last thing. It's not even on your radar, you know. So you just start with, you want the papers to open a bank account. The need is you want a setup that is formal so that you can run your thing. But the truth is, I like thinking of starting a business like starting a marriage, because it's actually more permanent than marriage. So when you're starting up a structure, you have to think of what are all the risks, legal and tax, that you're exposing your business to, right? So for example, if you're registering a business which you want to attract investors in 2 years and you use a business name, already you've set yourself up for failure, because no investor is going to invest in a business name. There are no shares in that entity. There's no legal separation of you as Yvonne and that business. And also just the corporate structure does not work for them, right? If you get sued under a business name, then all the assets that you had acquired before you started this business are in jeopardy, right? So just you look at the legal and the tax implications. When you're filing your returns and you want to say, I had an income of 10 million from this business name and my expense was 8 million, what the Revenue Authority will be wondering, where is the business starting and ending versus where is Yvonne starting and ending? Because ideally, everything is commingled because of the entity that you've chosen. But then there's a caveat. If you're starting a business that is, you want it to be very capital light, you want to start very lean, you maybe are looking at a budget of maybe 10,000, I wouldn't tell you to start a company, because you can't start a company with 10,000. It's actually, to register it is more. So I think you have to look at all those factors.
What your goal is.
What is your why?
Now that you've said that, you made me think about something, and we'll delve into this deeper later. We had the wealth protection breakfast that Waithera actually conducted, and we spoke about how if your spouse is involved in maybe like the home that you live in, even if you bought it before him, they can lay claim to that home. So would it be the same for the business name? Since there's no legal separation between me and the business, if we register the business name, maybe even while we're married, but it's my business, can that person come and lay claim to the business?
Yes and no, because the way that comes about is we call it matrimonial property. So assuming you're going through a separation and you want to separate your assets. So assuming your business name became so successful, now you have assets under it. And this person comes in and say, because you started this business when we were married, I helped you maybe with a loan, or I contributed to the business plan, or, I executed it some way. I need a share of that. But now even how do you even get a share of a business name? So what would maybe be in jeopardy there is assets of the business, or maybe like and assets can also be money in the bank. Yeah. So I think the why and the legal and tax implications, they have to go together. And I think my if you don't, the audience doesn't take anything from this, is you can't think of law and not think of tax. Those two go together, because how are we taxed as a country or even globally? The law has to be implemented for KRA to enforce that tax, right? So it starts from the law, and then it comes to the payment of tax or the tabulation of tax. Yeah.
A quick pause. Let's hear a word from our partners over at Digitax. Running a business in Kenya is already like juggling so many balls, and you almost feel like a clown in a circus. Good news is that Digitax is here to make this process a lot easier for all of us. They have a platform where you can easily create your invoices, send them to your customers or your suppliers, as well as be able to also verify any invoices that you receive. And it also allows you to view all of your historical data, and they don't experience any downtime. Digitax is here to make this process of e-invoicing a lot easier and, most importantly, carry compliant. Make sure to check the caption for details on how to sign up, and you can easily access on your phone, your computer, your desktop, or wherever you go. They're your tax assistant in your pocket. So you're telling us about choosing the right structures.
Yes.
So how do I know maybe I should register a limited liability company? And what are maybe the tax and legal advantages of doing that? Yeah.
So if you, I've said the business name. I think the tax implication of the business name, just to make it clear, is if you're operating Yvonne Cosmetics, let's call it, at the end of the financial year, you will have to pay taxes as Yvonne, because you and the business are one. And the taxes are going to be on graduated scale. So you see how like payee has above 800,000, you pay 35%. So if you're operating a company and you made 5 million, you would be looking at 30% of that. But if you're operating Yvonne Cosmetics and your profit is 5 million, you'll have to pay 35%. So there's already a 5% difference, right? So that's number one. Number two is, if you want separation, you want your business to be treated separately, legally speaking, from Yvonne, then you go with a company, a private limited company. You can't have more than 50 people in a private limited company. So if you are like 100 people who want to start the business, already you're disqualified from that. The beauty of having a private limited company, number one, the corporate structure is so smart. It's beautiful. You can go to the bank and get a loan. You can give someone shares and they come and invest, either equity or debt. And above all, you can be able to claim your expenses, your business expenses, in a very meticulous way. The role of a business owner is to take home money. Like, you are there to make profit. And therefore, you want to make sure that any business expense that you're using for production of that profit is going to be tabulated in what you pay for, or in your tax, in the tax that you pay, right? So in a company scenario, if I can just give you the tax points, if you have employed employees who are full-time, you're going to pay on that. If you are making payments to maybe Ithera Africa as a consultant, you're going to do your normal withholding obligations. But that withholding is for Ithera, it's not for you, right? So it doesn't really affect your tax payments. If you make a profit, I say if because you could be in a loss position, you pay 30% on corporate tax. Now, Yvonne, who invested in this company as a shareholder, how do you benefit from this all? You can pay yourself a salary and pay. You can pay yourself as a director on a consultancy basis and, get the less withholding amount. Or you can withdraw dividends from the company. And if you do that from the retained profit, from the profit, then you have to pay 5% of withholding on that. So if you look at a company image, then you're having like different tax points based on the transaction that you're having. If you look at a business name, you're only having one tax point based if it's just you're a sole proprietor. But then you can see it's higher if you make more than, because you're basically a full-time employee of the business. Then if you want to do like a partnership, so you're looking at, maybe you're offering a professional service, me and you want to open an entity, it makes more sense to go through the limited liability partnership. It has the same protection on a company. The only difference with the partnership is the tax point is only one. So we are going to do our accounting, and then whatever profit we make, we distribute between ourselves. So depending on what the partnership deed says. So if the ratio is 2:1, you'll pay your profit, your taxes on your 2. I'll pay my taxes on my 1. So when you look at it again, you might take home more as compared to a company structure where you have to pay dividends, a withholding on dividends when you're taking out your profit. So in my experience, when a client comes in, we want to understand what is their business model. We've seen people trying to raise like commercial papers, like fintechs, and we just advise just take a pass-through entity because it's not trading. You just want to pass money, and you want to make sure that the tax points are so minimal. So we'll advise go with an LLP, right? So no matter what level, high level, or when you're starting a business, we're able to look at the whole picture, the legal picture, the tax picture, and advise you that this is the best entity for you. Yeah.
I think, again, this emphasizes the importance of getting someone like competent who can advise you on these things, because we often just do. We do what we see everyone else doing. And then when things hit the fan, that's when you realize, oh, I should have.
And also think, let me mention just this, because I think it would save someone out there. There's this thing that Kenyan do. It's like, I want to call it the quail culture. Because Yvonne is operating a business, a private company, you just copy paste what someone has without understanding why. And then, of course, because maybe you don't want to use money on registration, you go to eCitizen and you're doing your own registration. And of course, there are questions like, how much turnover are you looking to make? And of course, you're manifesting. So you put 20 million, right? What you've just told KRA is, I'm already qualified for VAT because VAT qualification is above 5 million turnover. So when they're registering your PIN, they can even automatic register your VAT. And remember, you had no idea. You're just manifesting. You've been asked, how many employees are you looking to hire? You say 20. What you're still telling KRA, I have pay for 20 people. So I think even the shareholding structure, why are you having 100 shares and all of them are worth 10,000 per share? Do you know what that will do to your stamp duty when you're transferring those shares? Because stamp duty is on the share capital of the company. So I think there are so many moving parts. You can't be a doctor of your business. You can't be the strategist and everything. So please hire lawyers. Yeah.
That last part I didn't even know.
You didn't know that?
No.
So when you're transferring shares, you have to pay stamp duty on the share transfer, right? The way they compute it is the share capital of the business. So remember, you say you have 1,000 shares, and then you say per share, this is the value. So that's how they compute it, because they have no other way of valuing the business. So if you want to say your share, one share, because you're manifesting, is worth 1 million, you will just pay stamp duty that is worth that 1 million.
Is there a way that we can just add a plugin for, please go to Waithera School of Entrepreneurs, therefore the registration portal for businesses? Because I think we make so many expensive mistakes that you don't even come to realize until later.
Yeah.
What are some things that are really tripping up small and growing businesses tax-wise?
Number one, the entity that they chose. So you see, I think it's very, first of all, expensive to clean up a mess. Let me just put it out there. It's very expensive to clean up a tax mess. If you start with a business name and then you're moving like very high turnover, then you panic and say, okay, let me move to a company, right? But then you didn't clean up the business. So both of them are operating. We actually have a client right now who, started a business name, moved to a company. The accountant didn't do the handover the way they should be done. So she had like 2 VAT obligations of the same business running concurrently. One was not being filed. So she has 10,000 penalty every month for the last 4 years. So I think just those small assumptions, because it's a small assumption of, did you deregister the VAT for this other company that we are no longer using? And the answer is, it's a yes or no answer. But because you didn't ask it, because you didn't know, then you're going to pay millions on, and like I said, you're going to pay more money than even you're paying your accountant per month. That's the first thing that I've seen, just operating with tutajulia mbele, or, when KRA comes knocking, that's when I will act. The truth is, when KRA comes knocking, you're already on a ticking timeline, because the law has timelines for when should you respond to assessment. So you're panicking. It's very hard to clean up a mess when you're panicking, right? And panic will lead you to doing like a bribery, which it's not like an enforcement when you think about it. It's not like a full solution. The other thing that I've seen is, again, because you don't have knowledge, you have no documents. So even when KRA comes knocking, I want to help you, but you have no documentation to support what your business model has been like. Yeah. And, even when I look at the charges that we charge for consultation versus the charges that we charge for representing people before, they're like day and night, like day and night, literally. So I think you coming for a consult when you're relaxed and you're just out of curiosity to ask whether, let me just understand my tax obligation. It is your best bet to you coming and telling me whether my bank has been frozen. That is where the school fees of my children were, or like, yeah, or you've had that story of one of the community when we did the tax comfort. Someone's bank account was frozen and they had just moved the money to their mortgage, like their dream house in that account, like millions. So they couldn't move because, until you unfreeze the account, you can't use your money. So I think the statement is cleaning up the mess is very expensive. And so I think I would just urge for people to be proactive and also accept that it's a journey. I know it looks complex, but when you demystify it to what does your business need, and we all love our businesses and knowing what they need, then it becomes palatable and actionable for you. Yeah.
I think the other point also, and we actually did an episode on pricing, is we don't factor taxes or compliance into our pricing. And that's why it feels so painful to pay our taxes because you had not factored it in. So they're taking what is supposed to be your cut. So maybe if for those of you who can't sit and review your pricing, think about how to embed that into your pricing so that your customer is covering that cost and not you on the flip side. Right. So now shifting into you as Waithera.
Okay.
How did you personally navigate the identity shift from being now a lawyer who's working at a law firm to now being a business owner? And do you feel like you've navigated the space where your identity was so tied up into who you are as a business owner? And like, what has that journey been like?
I think when I started, I was a proper lawyer. I like saying proper because, lawyers, there's just a way we talk, the jargons, all that. I realized very fast it was not serving me. And I think also who I'm meant to be as a person. I am so passionate about businesses. I love just talking about businesses. I think when someone calls me Wakili, it actually offends me. I know it's weird. When someone says, hi, Wakili, I'm just like, I can't just be Waithera. I love thinking of myself as just Waithera. I love thinking of myself as someone who's building a business, and that business just involves the law. So I don't, me as a lawyer is really not, actually, it's not even my identity in my mind. I love the wisdom that I have from it, but that's just it. I think the other thing that I've realized very fast is law is a tool. It's a tool to help you achieve a bottom line in the business. And so sometimes when you think of it as like knowledge and this academic approach, it doesn't really serve the objective, right? So for me, I am very, even with my team, if you're writing an opinion to the client and you're there saying section this, what does that apply to the bottom line? Like I want to give my client 1-page report and tell them, because of the contract, this is what is your bottom line. This is how, if we go this way, this is what you'll find. If we go this way, this is like, can we marry and make it simple and not try to sound complicated? Yeah, so...
Right.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about Ithera Africa, because it's more than just telling guys how to structure to limit your tax obligations. It's bigger than that.
Yeah.
So tell us a lot more about and what the whole vision is.
Yeah. So Ithera Africa was born out of this identity of Waithera of just building businesses. I realized that a lot of my clients, and I'm very convinced about this, they come to me when their businesses are starting up and they grow very fast. So in fact, one of our mission is just we work with fast growing companies. And, in year 1, we are helping Yvonne to choose an entity. In year 2, we are helping Yvonne to hire people. Year 3, Yvonne is acquiring assets. Year 4, Yvonne, wants to create a trust for her baby. And so I realized like we were not helping our clients from end to end. So we wanted to work with our clients from when they start with the idea to do it right, give them that peace of mind that, my taxes are good, we are compliant with our employment contracts, to when I'm buying an apartment, Waithera is dealing with that. If I want to sit this apartment in a trust, Waithera will help me with that. And so with the law firm, we could only do so much. And so we decided to branch so that we are able to partner with wealth managers. So we can do the legal and tax planning for you, but then we can also have people who can help you buy stock in UK if that's what you're looking at. So the plan of Ithera is not just to serve our clients in Kenya. I just want my clients, if they want to buy stocks in whatever part of the world, I have like a dedicated trusted partner that I can partner with, and we can bring that to their door. The dream for Ithera is so big. It is so big, it is scary. And I think it's keeping up with the dream. The vision is just to grow beyond Kenya, grow beyond Africa, but now with our Kenyan clients, and give them the wealth that they're working so hard for. Because when you're starting a business, you're starting it to be successful. So we want to make sure that you'll never wondering which lawyer do I use when now I'm making billions. Like we started with you when you were at zero, and now when you're making billions, we actually know how to safeguard your billions.
Yeah. If you were to do any other business, like if you can't do law, if you can't do it there, I'm curious to hear what business would you do and why?
Wow, I think I would be, these life coaches that says move forward, not the therapists. Therapists are like, well, yeah, what happened? I feel like I'm a very moving forward person. I would really just like to give people advice from my experience, from my very little experience that
So
I
you'd be a
lived.
life coach?
I would be a life coach. I know, but now the harsh ones, the ones like, stop crying. Like, let's get a solution,
and move
cry for
forward.
2 minutes, but like, can we proceed? Yeah, I think I would be a
Maybe
life
that
coach.
can be a facet in Ithera, because honestly, founders need coaching. So we're going to delve into something that I call the technically segment. I'm curious to hear how you do particular things.
Okay.
So what's one ritual you have, whether it's daily or weekly, that you think are really critical to your role as a founder and your performance?
I think waking up early. It's very important for me to be up at 4:20 a.m. It can be 4 a.m., but it can be, if I wake up at 7, I just feel like I have failed the farm, the business, myself, the family, the village. I think I just like having that structure of I don't have confusion, because if I have it, then my team has confusion. And just being structured means that I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I find it very fascinating when my day comes to an end and then there are tasks that I don't do. Fascinating in a very negative way, because I'm like, I planned for this. Like, I'm a planner. And so I think the planning also just helps my team, because they watch what you do.
Yes.
And I guard that. Even when there are chaos, when you're having like 10 master classes, my routine has to be
intact.
Yeah, intact. Yeah.
My mom always says that my grandma had a saying that ukilala sana utamka upate kila tu wamegawa Nairobi na imeisha. And you got nothing.
I know. Yeah. So that's fair too.
What do you wish more people paid attention to? What do you wish people paid more attention to?
How they limit their business, especially business owners. I think every business owner has gone through a aha moment of, I'm the one who is limiting my business. Limiting it by some truths you don't want to face about yourself. Maybe you're a bad leader and you should not be a leader in your business. Bad leader can also be, you're not taking advice, right? Like we've had clients where we're telling them, if you go through this route, like bribery, I can talk about it, it might not be sustainable for the business, because in any way, even though you bribe KRA in April or an officer from KRA, you will still file your returns in June. So it's not, it won't replace your obligations, right? So I think more business owners just need to know that, first of all, it's a purpose, it's a calling. It's not Yvonne, it's like God called you to do this. And so you have to take that mandate with so much responsibility and do what is right, as opposed to what you think, your limitations or your wins or your strengths look like.
Yeah. But I think also, just to digress a bit from what you've said, because people don't know and there's just a lot of lack of information and even just being educated, people assume that the only way to pay less tax is to evade. But they don't understand that there's actually proper structured ways to actually limit your liability legally. So even if they do come, they're like, okay, here are my books. These are my liabilities. So just book a consultation with Vera, because there's so much value there for sure. Next question. How often do you look at your books, the business's books? Do you have a monthly or a weekly meeting with your accountant or your finance person?
So we do budgets per month. So we already know how much we're spending this month based on what we spent last month. We look at our books every week because there's also e-teams and all that we're doing now. But as a rule of thumb for me, I have quarterly targets. And because most of the bills, the big bills, we do them quarterly, it just makes me know, are we just doing vanity in terms of revenues, or are we actually making our profits?
Yeah. What are some recent decisions that you've made from looking at the books, especially something that in your mind you thought it was another way, but the numbers revealed something different?
That we're leaving some money on the table in terms of our clientele. So like when you look at our client journey, some clients will come to us for a tax issue and they have like trademark needs, which we are not telling them. And so we had a meeting with my team the other day and I told them, everything that you do in this farm, including coughing, you should be asking yourself, how can this generate revenue for us? You know, like when you're writing an article to post on LinkedIn, are you thinking how this is going to convert, or are you just pushing paper? When you're handling a client like Yvonne, are you asking what other needs does Yvonne have that we can give her value for? You know, so I think just realizing that we don't need more clients. We just need to talk to the clients that we have so that we can maximize.
Yeah. True. Okay, next question. When did you start paying yourself consistently?
Oof.
And what changed when you did?
Yeah. I think in year 2 of business, when I made my first hire, it didn't make sense to me for me to be paying someone. Na mimi sijilipi. Like, and I know we do drawings, but I also handling the tax cases, it was very clear to me that I need to have like a contract with the company. And the most sleepless nights I go through just thinking about the business. I'm just laughing because Esme sent me a meme today of a business owner at night having a business idea, going through a burnout, and you know,
all at once.
you're trying to sleep. Yeah, so it made sense that the business needs to pay me for all the efforts that I put in. So in year 2 of business, it was clear. So what I always do per year is I revise my contract with the company or with my businesses. And my rule of thumb is if KRA is taking 30% of taxes from my business, I need to take more. That is my rule of thumb. I can't pay more taxes than I'm paying myself. It doesn't make sense to
like
me.
you're in business to fund.
No, it doesn't make like so with other expenses, our expenses need to be just if not higher than what we are paying in terms of taxes. Yeah. And also that has helped me to buy premium for the business. So I don't keep saying, no, we won't afford this. We're gonna pay it in tax anyway. So just buy the most expensive thing. Yeah.
Where is Waithera putting her money?
Ooh.
Personally.
So for the last 3 years, I have been, the Kikuyu in me has been, where can I buy apartments? And I mean, it's been nice. I like getting rent, but I think the more because before we started Ithera, I really took time to just, talk with wealth managers in London. Like I actually have partners everywhere, think about it. And I think it was very clear to me that I need to diversify my investment. So I'm looking at what is coming up, in stocks. Can I just, make sure that I'm not so rigid and traditional in how I invest? Yeah. But of course, kawaida things, MMFs, I'm there. Even the risky ones, I'm there.
Which one is the risky one?
I can't say it.
Are you a Shylock under the table?
No, the risky. The ones that have like very nice percentages.
Val says the ones that the nini looks like a heartbeat.
That one, yeah. So I think my risk appetite is growing as I grow older. Yeah.
Okay. What is the most recent place you have invested money for the business? Like, does the business have its own investments?
Yes. An MMF that we just opened actually.
Okay.
But having said that, I think I also want to do like assets, not like the computers and all that. Like my dream is in 5 years, the business can have like its own building, and you can have like 2 different wings. Either on this side, and we're not paying rent,
and then tenants.
Yeah, that would be so fulfilling. Yeah.
Okay, so to wrap things up, quick fire segment.
Okay.
So you answer in a sentence or less.
Okay.
When is the last time you took a day off? Like no work, like zero, no emails, no WhatsApp, no
Tuesday
calls.
Tuesday.
Are you
Well,
sure?
there were emails, but we can't take a day off. This question does not have an answer.
What is the last thing you did for fun, just for fun?
Played with my sister last night when I got home.
Yeah. Okay. One thing you struggle with that you wish more people talked about?
Oh my God, resting. As founders, I don't know what's the balance there. And I know we're always learning,
Yeah.
but that's a hard one for me. Yeah.
Valid. Me too. If you had the ability to make a universal law that everyone must follow, what would it be?
Teach tax law in school.
Maybe you open a tax law school.
I should.
What does success look like for you now versus when you were starting out? Like that Waithera of 1817, what did she think success was? Versus now.
You know, funny, it's still the same. Yeah, I think my favorite word is excellence. Even when I reflect and wonder, like, what has changed in how I do my things, I think I've been really persistent. If I've done something in an excellent manner, whether it has money attached to it or not, I'm really happy. Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is a two-tiered question. First, a question that you'd like to leave the next guest. And the last guest also left you a question. So you can give me the question first, then I'll give you the question that they left you.
Okay. That's a hard question. Okay, I'm overthinking because I know the guest list.
We don't know the guest list, actually.
I think I do. Okay. I would want to know what are they doing now? You know how we say alive arrive? What are they doing now to sustain the, I don't want to say brain power, but to sustain themselves as people, to keep building? And I know it looks like a very general question, but I really think every founder needs to find that one thing that like fills their cup naturally without like saying take the day off. Like it could be just enjoying 5 minutes of the sun. So I actually want to collect what people are doing and start copying. Yeah.
Okay. The last person asked, how are you striking the balance between personal and business? And is there really such a thing? And if you have any tips or advice on how you're trying to find some sanity in the chaos.
I've remembered Shonda Rhimes who said there's no balance. There's no balance. I don't think, and I keep looking at even how my calendar is structured. And if I do too much of resting, then something is going to fall off the crack. So I don't think there's balance. I think there's just conviction of what is Monday supposed to be looking like for Waithera and what will make me happy. At the end of the day, when I was buying my car, the guy who sold me, he's Indian, he said, every day when you wrap up the day, you want to cleanse your soul and ask, what could I have done differently today? And what did I do well? And I think if you're happy with those answers, then make changes tomorrow. But I think that's the balance, because it's very, you can say rest, but then you're so unsettled with that rest. Or you can say work, but then you're so unsettled with that work. So the balance is you. It's in you. You just need to find it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for coming. Please plug your business, tell people where they can find you and how to book a consult with you. And if you're giving them a discount.
No discount. So the business is Ithera Africa. We are Ithera Africa on LinkedIn, Ithera Africa on Instagram, Ithera Africa on the website. We book all our consultations through the website. Go to our website and go to Let's Work Together, and you can book whatever time is convenient for you. Our consultations are so amazing. We actually get time to know you, know your business, and know all your gaps, your risks, what you know and what you don't know, and we give you clear answers. You can also follow Waithera M&Co Advocates. It's a specialized law firm. We are also Waithera M&Co Advocates on LinkedIn and Instagram. What was the other question?
I think you've answered all of them.
Yeah. So discount, no for now.
But tell her we sent you.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on set. And thank you so much for tuning in. Please remember to subscribe. And I think this marks the end of season 1. Season 2 will be back soon, I hope, because this is like many months before. But I really appreciate you taking your time to listen to this conversation. Please share this with a friend who definitely could hear it. I think a lot more of us entrepreneurs need to enlighten ourselves, especially about tax matters and setting ourselves up for advantage legally. And thank you so much for tuning in once again, and catch you on the next one. Bye.
Yay.
This podcast is proudly sponsored by Beauty Square KE. Beauty Square was my first full-blown business and the brand that pulled me into entrepreneurship and shaped so much of what I share here. In many ways, this podcast is an ode to that journey, the lessons, the growth, and the courage to start before everything was figured out. At Beauty Square, we're passionate about helping everyone become a skin expert, offering authentic products from TikTok favorites to proven solutions for acne, dark spots, and more, with a team ready to guide you through all the right choices. Visit us at our CBD or Lavington branches for expert treatments like facials, waxing, body scrubs, and massages from our sister brand Stage. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at beautysquare.ke and at Sage Skin, spelled SAGESKNN. And thank you for tuning in.